now going to read from Luke 3:21 and Luke 4:1-13. We proclaim. Now, when all the people were baptized, and when Jesus also had been baptized and was praying, the heaven was opened, and the Holy Spirit descended upon him in bodily form, like a dove. And a voice came from heaven, "You are my Son, the beloved, and with you I am well pleased." Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit in the wilderness, where for 40 days he was tested by the devil. He ate nothing at all during those days, and when they were over, he was famished. The devil said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command this stone to become a loaf of bread." Jesus answered him, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone." Then the devil led him up and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. And the devil said to him, "To you I will give all this authority and their glory, for it has been given over to me, and I give it to anyone I please. If you then will worship me, it will be all yours." Jesus answered him, "It is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only him." Then the devil led him to Jerusalem and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to protect you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "It is said, do not put the Lord your God to the test." When the devil had finished every test, he departed until an opportune time.
Have you ever heard somebody compare a big moment in their lives to a voice coming down from the heavens? It's one of those things that we hear a lot. On the day that Jesus is baptized, this exact same thing happens. The heavens open, the Spirit descends, a voice says, "You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased." It's a moment of clarity, it's affirming, grounding. But then almost immediately, Jesus is led into the wilderness by that same Spirit. There's something kind of relatable about that moment, isn't there? A moment of clarity, followed by a season of struggle. A mountaintop experience, followed by a stretch of road where you're not quite sure where you're going. He was drawn into the wilderness. Wilderness is one of those interesting words, isn't it? What do you think of when you think of the wilderness? For some, it's fear. For some, loneliness. For others, freedom. Sometimes the wilderness can even be a sacred space. But wilderness can be disorienting. It can be a place where distractions fall away and we discover what's really inside us. You know what? If this is all going to be trouble, Jim, I think we can just, I think people will be okay. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Rather than, just. But we can just turn it off for today, though.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Let's skip on it.
Yeah.
Good.
It's just a bit of a distraction right now. So let's take a look at the way that Luke tells the story, specifically the order. Jesus is claimed before his time in the wilderness. He's called beloved before his time of testing. His identity is spoken before anything is demanded. And he doesn't go into the wilderness to prove who he is. He goes in knowing who he is already, that he's loved. He faces temptation, not cartoonish evil, but temptation that we can recognize. Temptation of the body, temptation of status, temptation of spirit. Temptation of power and control. All the influence, a shortcut to impact. It's the voice that whispers to all of us at some point, give yourself some security. Take some control. Make it happen. These shortcuts often promise results without the slow work of justice. They offer influence without integrity. They invite us to grasp when we feel uncertain or afraid. But Jesus refuses the shortcuts. He chooses trust over control. He chooses faithfulness over spectacle. He stays rooted in the voice that he heard. A week from now, we're going to be watching the movie The Way. It's the story of a reluctant pilgrimage. At one point, the main character, Tom, sets out in full determination. It's about the Camino de Santiago. And it shows him with his backpack on, and he starts to walk this way, and then the camera stays there, and then you see him walking back this way. And just a realization that sometimes we get ourselves set and we think that we're doing what we need to do, but it doesn't quite work out that way. It's a funny scene, but it's also deeply human. We know the path, we think, but then we realize that we don't really know where we're going. This journey that we're on in Lent is 40 days. It connects to that 40 days of Jesus in the wilderness, but it's not a punishment for us. It's not a test to pass. It's a space to offer to listen. So there are questions that you'll find. I think that they're on your phone. When you hear the word wilderness, what image or feeling comes to mind? Have you ever gone through a season that felt like wilderness, but later you realized something important was being formed in you? What helps you stay rooted when life feels uncertain or divided? Where do you see temptations in our world right now to choose shortcuts instead of justice? What might it look like to stay on a more faithful path? As we begin Lent, what is one intention that you want to carry on this journey? Now, you don't need to have everybody answer every question. What this time is meant to be is it's meant to be a time of food, at the table, spending time with one another, but letting these questions guide so we're not just talking about the weather or things like that. We've done this before. Everybody good? Okay?